My favorite part of elk hunting is being in the country that elk live in. Elk in the West are often found in steep, rugged, high elevation country. They're far from roads and trails, and being in those kinds of places where evidence of man is less impactful is important to me. It's kind of a way of resetting your natural equilibrium and bringing you back to nature. Conversely, my least favorite part of elk hunting, as ironic as it seems, and even hypocritical to some people, is actually killing the animal. It's a very difficult emotion to describe to people that haven't experienced it. During the entire hunt, literally right up to the moment that you squeeze the trigger, your body and your mind just run on autopilot, purely instinctual. Literally, the prehistoric hunter in you comes out, and it's the only goal on your mind is getting that animal on the ground. But once the bullet's been sent and that animal's dead, your adrenaline starts to wear off, and you come down from the hunt. It leaves you with a sense of remorse. I guess I don't even think it's remorse as much as it's reverence and respect for the animal's life that you just took. I've been hunting basically my whole life. I can remember tagging along with my dad many times when I was a little kid, and then finally went on my first official hunt where I packed a rifle when I was 13. We were in the woods all the time though, cutting firewood, shooting rifles, hiking, fishing, camping. So being in the woods is natural for me, as was the transition into hunting. I'm really astounded that it's still an accepted idea that a lot of hunters just go out in the woods and shoot an animal and take its head or its horns and leave all the meat laying in the field to rot. It's always one of the first questions that I get asked by non-hunters. Do you take the meat or do you just take the head? Most of those folks, again, after a brief explanation of ethics and regulations, they gain an entirely different point of view. There's also always the people that assume that all hunters are just slobs that drive around in their trucks all day drinking beer and blast away at anything that they can see out of the window of their truck. Again, with a brief rundown of my processes, especially in regulations, most of them change their point of view. The part that's really hard to convey to non-hunters is the fact that most hunters don't get a thrill or joy or happiness of any form from the act of actually killing the animal. Most hunters aren't bloodthirsty killers. Hunting for me has always revolved around harvesting animals that my family can eat. At this point, this is 6 years in a row without buying any meat other than chicken, and it's come to the point that we rely on it now. And because of that, I've never killed a large bull elk, as I wasn't willing to pass opportunities on smaller ones, hoping for a bigger one. This hunt's a little different. It's taking place in the heat of the rut, the best time of the year to get an opportunity at big bulls. They're generally really vocal, easier to find, and the goal, for me anyways, is to call one into close quarters, which is something that I've never been able to do. a lot of effort and a lot of time. Score means nothing to me. They called a quality tag. And we saw him, he bugled, and we called him in. And that's as quality as it gets, just being able to call one in. Never been able to do that before.
Yeah, that's a big boy.
That really is.
I can feel the bullet
Right there.
right there. Man, what an awesome animal.
He went down pretty quick then.
Yeah, he ran. The first shot was a perfect shot. I mean, it was right behind the shoulder, dead nuts.
Where did he come out of those trees?
Walked like that little road right there.
Yeah.
Came right down that little road.
Was he talking to you? Or was he just moving through?
Did you hear him bugling up there?
Yeah.
And then he went quiet. That's why I cow called a bunch, and then I went quiet. I didn't want him to walk right to us if he was coming in. And then I heard him. Dad snuck up behind me, and I could hear brush. Cracking. So he just frozen. I mean, it's like you see in hunting videos online.
Yeah.
Just walked right out. Just like it was supposed to be. Yeah, that second shot anchored him though.
This is tough. This is the tough part for me. There's such awesome animals. Yeah.
You know, the hunt, when you're hunting and it's all going down, you just run on autopilot. It's all the instinct comes out, but when you're done, you got this awesome animal on the ground. It's tough. I don't like killing them. That's what all the practice is, all the shooting, all the gear, all the practice, everything. So that when it does happen, you can anchor them fast, make it a good kill. All right. My name's Rory O'Connor, and I'm from Washington State. I've had many conversations with people that don't hunt, and I've had many conversations with people that are adamantly opposed to hunting. I normally just start by asking them why they're opposed to hunting. And most often, in my experience, people are opposed to hunting mainly because they don't understand it. Once I take a few minutes and explain to them the basics of conservation, hunting regulations, and the fact that most people, including myself, hunt for food, not for trophies, they change their tune pretty quick. A lot of them become very interested at that point, actually. They ask about the process. How do you hunt? What do you hunt for? How do you get a deer out of the woods? How do you get an elk out of the woods when you shoot one 5 miles from the truck? How do you cook it? Do you make jerky? Do you make sausage? They start asking a lot of questions. Most of those people walk away with an entirely different comprehension of hunting than they did before the conversation started. If people at that point, though, are still adamantly opposed, the next question I ask them is if they eat meat, and often most of them do. And they just aren't willing to look past the fact that I take responsibility for the meat that I eat and kill it myself versus going to Safeway and buying it wrapped in cellophane and having somebody else kill it for me. Most reasonable people that are willing to have a conversation about hunting and are willing to see others' viewpoints walk away with a different point of view and can definitely come to an understanding. Hunting has definitely changed for me as I've gotten older. I've really learned to slow down and enjoy the whole process. The preseason scouting, the gear prep, setting up camp. I especially like early morning hikes in the dark to the spot that I want to hunt that morning. And then sitting there in the dark, drinking coffee from my thermos, waiting for first light. It's probably my favorite thing. All of those things combined make the hunt for me, and it's all capped off at the end by getting an animal and bringing that meat home.